Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Awesome Finds. Now I have a relatively small stack of 80s rockabilly records, which is totally up my alley. I love rockabilly music. I used to be in a rockabilly duo, and 80s, for whatever reason, was this rebirth of rockabilly that just, it was so cool, but unfortunately I was a rather young kid, so it kind of passed me by completely until I became a young adult and I started my own band, and I kind of was in the whole rockabilly scene. Actually, if you guys remember when psychobilly was rather popular, that's when I was doing my rockabilly thing. So I kind of rode that wave for a little bit. Unfortunately, rockabilly is kind of more on the back burner again in the musical scene, but you know what? That doesn't stop me from loving the genre. So without further ado, let's get started. First up is a band I had never heard of. They're called the Shaking Pyramids, and despite these guys looking very interesting with their hairstyles, they actually are very much a roots rockabilly style, very reminiscent of stuff coming out of the Sun Records label. I really enjoyed them, actually. This was a promo edition, and this is on Rock and Roll Records from 1983. What's funny to me is, as a kid, I used to get Weird Al records, and a lot of them were on Rock and Roll Records, so every time I see that label, I think of Weird Al. So yeah, there's side one, and there's side two. Okay, next up, we have the Rockettes. I think that's how you say them, or the Rockettes. That's totally not how you say it. But this is Live at the Ritz, and I think this is from 1981 on Island Records. This one actually comes in a photo sleeve. It's a little torn up from over the years, but man, I love these photos. It's a lot of live photos. These guys look like they had so much fun back in the day. These guys are very much in the style of the Stray Cats, so they have a little bit of a more modern influence. And this, for a live album, was actually pretty good, so if you guys see it and you're into it, pick it up. Up next is another LP by the Rockettes, and this is a mini LP titled Make That Move. What's interesting is that this is from 1983, which is 2 years after that live album, and already their sound is different. At this point, they're much more of a new wave band. Almost, actually they sound kind of similar to the B-52s on some of these tracks, but they really kind of strayed away from that rockabilly sound. Even though they're dressed in that rockabilly style, they don't have that sound. Once, like the title track, Make That Move, is more reminiscent of a rockabilly song, but it's more like if you think of Goody Two Shoes by Adam and the Ants, it's in that kind of style. But it makes sense because that was the in sound. You might as well ride that wave because not everyone can be the Stray Cats. And here is the record real quick. This is on RCA Victor. This is side A and side B. So up next is a solo album by Brian Setzer titled Live Nude Girls. And this is from 1988. I believe this is his second solo album. It's okay. It's not great. It's kind of cheesy. It's kind of that 80s cheesy, but man, is his guitar playing great. So if you're a fan of Brian Setzer, it's worth picking up. Oh, look at that motorcycle. Oh my goodness. He looks ridiculous, but that motorcycle is so beautiful. I don't ride personally, but I always appreciate this era of motorcycles. There's just something about them. But yeah, this album is very much drenched in 80s and not the good 80s, you know what I mean? But like I said, the guitar playing on here is really good, and it should be no surprise, it's Brian Setzer. And let's check out the record real quick, the vinyl itself. This is on EMI, Manhattan. There's side two. It's a little dirty and a little scratched up. I should probably clean this. Anyway, so like I said, if you see it for $1 or so, it's worth picking up just to check out. Now I have actual Stray Cats records. First up is the 12-inch single, maybe it's a mini LP, for Stray Cats Strut, and it's got 4 songs on there, including the title track right here. And this was, I believe, this was made in Great Britain. Comes in one of those Euro-style sleeves, and this is from 1983. And it's in relatively decent shape. It's got a little bit of fingerprints going on, but nothing you can't clean up. Another thing that's interesting too is that this cover is very, very thin. It's almost like an inner sleeve material, if you know what I mean. Okay, so these last 2 records are almost the same album. It's really interesting. So first up is their debut LP. This is just their self-titled Stray Cats from 1981 on Arista Records. This has got some of their big hits on here, like Rock This Town and Stray Cat Strut. One of my favorites is Rumble in Brighton. And really solid album on its own, and it comes with this picture inner sleeve. Oh, I would kill to have this hair. It's amazing. Love that jacket too. And the record itself, Has these really cool custom labels on there. I like that. It's got a pin up on there. So lastly, I have Built for Speed by the Stray Cats. Now this was released in America, and I think this is on EMI, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, EMI America. So this one's a little beat up. It's got a lot of fingerprints, but definitely some scratches. So this is gonna be a placeholder album until I find one in better condition. But what's interesting is that it's a different track layout, but they share a lot of the same songs. So you have Rock This Town as the first song on side 1, whereas on this record, it was the last song on side 1. And you have Stray Cat Strut, which is also on here. You have Rumble in Brighton, also on here. You have Runaway Boys, which appears as side 1, track 1 up there. So I think they share, oh yeah, Genie, Genie, Genie. So they share about 6 songs between them. And this became really popular in the US, and they actually reissued this album, even though they share about 6 songs. So it's just kind of funny, the story of how the Stray Cats became the Stray Cats. And obviously, you guys know the rest. They became international superstars before disbanding in, I think, 1985 or 84. So anyway, I'm a big fan of Stray Cats. I mean, clearly, Brian Setzer is the driving force of that band. He, not only can he sing, but he wails on that guitar. It's amazing. And no doubt, one of his big influences is Eddie Cochran, who in his day was a tour de force singer, songwriter, and guitar player. He was the guy that made Elvis Presley nervous because of how well he could sing and play guitar. So enough of that. I'm so happy to have these records in my collection because I love rockabilly music. I love how simple it is, and you just want to dance. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the records. Until then, I'm your vinyl geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Hey guys, thanks again for checking out this episode of Awesome Finds. Now if you're hungry for more collecting videos, I put a playlist right there, as well as another video that YouTube will choose for me. I also put my social media links and a subscribe button, so if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe.